I got out of a crappy relationship with my ex. It was a nightmare of a divorce, and I got the blame, even though the kids knew he cheated on me. I got the blame since I asked for the divorce. This happened when our eldest was 15. Let's call him Eric. He was a nightmare at the time. He bullied his younger sibling, and I had to drag him to therapy, where he refused to talk. We tried people he picked, but it was a nightmare. He wanted to live with my ex, but he didn't want him to live with him. When he went to college, I had hoped that his spreading his wings would help him, since nothing I did worked. It did not. He pretended no one existed unless he needed cash. My breaking point with him was when he was 21, and I texted him, asking if he would make it for Christmas. He told me to beg him to come, and he would consider it. I refused, gave an invite, and he didn't show. I kept giving him invites to family events but stopped this year. He's now 25. My 2 daughters are officially no contact with him this year. We are in contact, but we rarely talk. He called yesterday, asking if I could talk to his sisters and convince them to meet up with him. I told him to leave them alone, but he kept going. After a while of him not taking my no for an answer, I told him, "Why don't you beg, and I'll consider it." He got angry, called me a jerk, and hung up. Maybe I went too far with him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Welcome to Find Out Avenue. It's one exit past Screw Around Boulevard. He got a taste of his own medicine. His life is lonely and empty because he pushes the people who care about him away. True, but the words thrown back in his face were from 4 years ago. He doesn't likely remember saying them. He's not capable of putting 2 and 2 together in this. So while OP's got to have some revenge, there is no lesson being learned by the son. He hasn't found out anything except to feel sorrier and sorrier for himself. I don't blame OP, but it seems a hollow victory at best. So a kid was rejected by his father during a messy divorce, was forced into therapy, and has now been rejected by his remaining family? I'm not going to excuse his crappy behavior entirely, but Jesus, this guy's being thrown through the ringer for not reacting well to events out of his control. I'm going to say you are the idiot because it is your job as a parent to be the bigger person. Instead of making a snarky comment, you should have spoken with him and tried to repair your relationship with him and his sisters. Regardless of the reason for divorce, that was a trauma for your son. Of course he acted out. Okay, and? His 2 sisters clearly want nothing to do with him. Why the heck should they have to? Whether or not he possibly decides to become a reasonable human being on some undefined point in the future, it's okay for him to order OP to beg him so he'd attend Christmas and other family events, but it's suddenly not when it's his turn to beg for his sister's attention. He's 25, and he has to learn actions have consequences, and what's good for him is also good for others. I'm with you on this. The son is only reaching out now because he wants money or is dating someone, asking why he has no relationship with his family. His sisters don't want to have a relationship with him because of the person he chooses to be. They have every right to be respected by keeping toxic people out of their lives and not talking to their brother. OP was protecting their interest. I, 21 female, am really into beauty, makeup, skincare, perfumes, etc., and collect perfumes. There's one perfume I've been wanting for quite some time now, but it's been way out of my budget. I'm a college student working a part-time job at the movie theater, which pays about $13 an hour, and I have other priorities to pay for, so it's taken a while for me to save up. I'd finally saved up the amount I needed and was planning to buy myself the perfume as a birthday gift. My birthday was 2 days ago. I told my boyfriend 20 this, and he told me to spend my money on something else, and he'd buy me the perfume instead. I told him he didn't have to, considering it was expensive, but he insisted. A few days before my birthday, I asked him if he was sure about buying it and told him again that I had no problem buying it myself. He told me not to worry about it and said he'd already bought and wrapped it. I thanked him and figured since he had already bought it, I could spend my money on something else. I took my best friend and younger sister out to a nice restaurant and the movies afterward. I wasted more than half the money I'd saved up, but obviously didn't think anything of it. So on my birthday, my boyfriend gave me a gift, and it was a body spray and a bath bomb. I asked him what happened to the perfume, and he told me it was much more expensive than he'd expected and way out of his budget. I got mad at him and asked him why he lied to me and told me to waste my money on something else when he could have easily told me he couldn't afford it and I'd have bought it myself. He called me a spoiled brat and said I was expecting too much from him. I called him a piece of lying crap and left after that. I got a few texts from him and his friends calling me names and saying I was using him for money. I also got a text from his mom, who I had a great relationship with, calling me childish for throwing a temper tantrum when I didn't get my way. I honestly don't see how I'm in the wrong here, but I'm not the type of person to not say I'm sorry if I am. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He lied to you. He promised something and didn't follow through. You gave him multiple chances to change his mind, and he promised you it was already wrapped and got your hopes up, causing you to spend the money you had intentionally saved up for this item, and then acted like it was your fault you were disappointed and upset. Also, the way he responded to all of this, leave him. He probably thought it was cheaper when he first made the offer, but as soon as he found out the real price, he should have told you it was out of his budget. Anyone with any sense would have seen how wrong it was to lead you on. Honestly, it sounds more like he decided that it was too expensive and you should be spending your money other ways. Not only that, it was too expensive for him. Girl, please don't stay with someone who thinks it's okay to sick their friends and mother on you. That's the most childish nonsense ever. Plus, I'm guessing his friends' names were probably highly misogynistic. They always are in these scenarios. He did that, your boyfriend, who should love and protect you, intentionally set you up for that. You deserve better all around. My mom had a health scare, so I've been visiting her since last week. Since my teen son, Jean, has been staying home due to a sprained ankle, I let him babysit his younger brothers, young grammar school, kindergarten, and toddler, while I was gone. He's done it before and usually enjoys it, and I rarely ever let him babysit for more than a few hours, so I'm not parentifying him before you guys come at me in the comments. This was an unusual and unexpected circumstance. It would never be this long if I could plan beforehand. I checked in daily with Jean to ensure things were going well, and he always assured me things were fine. But when I called him a couple of hours before I was due to be home, he didn't answer. I texted him as well, but no response. I was a bit worried, but since I'd called him earlier that day and things seemed fine, I assumed he'd put the younger kids down for a nap and had his phone on silent or something. But when I got in, I first noticed that the front door was unlocked and no one was downstairs. I almost go full panic mode, but when I get upstairs, I find all of my sons are in Jean's room. He's fallen asleep, and the younger kids are just running around playing with his things. I wake him up and ask why the front door's unlocked. He explained that they were getting too rowdy in the house, so he was playing catch with them in the backyard, and he must have forgotten to lock the door when they came back in because he was chasing them around, trying to keep them from throwing the ball at the windows. I asked him why he didn't at least check before going to sleep, and he said he'd meant to just sit down for a few minutes and fell asleep on accident. I was a bit skeptical because my youngest kids are usually really well behaved. Still, regardless, I told him keeping the front door locked is basic security, and he should have at least checked it once before going upstairs, so I'm grounding him for 3 days. He was angry, said I was overreacting, and that he can't do anything right in my book. That's not true. I'm just particularly picky when it comes to my kid's safety, like any parent. Am I the idiot for grounding him? I know he needs some type of punishment, but I can still see where grounding might have been too extreme. I'm not sure I read this right. You left an injured teen home alone with 3 small kids for several days? Is that correct? I know you said this was an unusual circumstance, but regardless, You left an injured child to care for 3 other children for days. So after he took on that huge responsibility, you came home and immediately grounded him for one honest mistake. Wow, you are the idiot, and a huge one. I hope he refuses to do this kind of favor for you ever again. I like how OP thinks they're getting ahead of the parenting comments by saying that he likes it. Jesus, a teen with a sprained ankle cannot properly babysit 3 children under 8 for a week. And for all we know, he actually can and did a great job. But instead of being rewarded for handling such a hard task, while injured, he gets grounded for not locking the front door. Complete craziness. What a major idiot. He's right, and I doubt he'll do you any favors like babysitting again. Nor should he, when your attitude is so crappy, and your focus is only on his mistake. He did you a favor in an emergency, and instead of thanking him for stepping up and taking care of the little kids, you freak out and ground him for a mistake that caused 0 harm. Your 4 kids were safe, fed, and secure for a week. You owe him an apology and ungrounding ASAP. I worry about my kids forgetting to lock the door, so as a responsible adult, I got a doorknob that locks automatically after 1 minute, so in case they do forget, the door remembers and locks on its own. My sister-in-law is expecting her first baby at the end of this month. I have 3 kids. My youngest is almost a toddler, so I have a lot of baby stuff, baby swings, clothes, toys, etc., that we don't need anymore. Instead of donating them, I thought it would be nice to let my sister-in-law and her wife look at them before. I brought them over, and they picked out what they wanted and needed, and my sister-in-law immediately put it in the washing machine. I'm immaculate, and all the baby stuff was clean, so I confronted my sister-in-law. I asked her why she needed to clean my stuff if it wasn't dirty, and she knows I'm not dirty. My sister-in-law said that she's cleaning everything and named a long list of things she's cleaning for the baby, sterilizing all bottles and pacifiers, washing all blankets, clothes, etc. I told my sister-in-law that washing everything is pretty stupid, because what if she wants to take something back? It's not like cleaning everything in her house will prepare her for the baby. Nothing prepares you for your first. My sister-in-law took this as me being mean, but I was trying to be helpful. She should enjoy her last few weeks of pregnancy instead of cleaning everything. My sister-in-law's wife told me we're allowed to do things differently with our children. I pointed out to them that they've never had children, so she would feel silly for doing so. I also told them that I didn't want to listen to anyone when I was pregnant with my first pregnancy, and I regretted it later. They will too. My sister-in-law made it seem like I was being an idiot, but I don't see it. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You immediately took her washing your stuff as a passive-aggressive comment on your cleanliness, and then reached for reasons to justify yourself instead of just backing off and letting it go. She's a first-time mom, and you're calling her stupid and telling her she's doing everything wrong. Back the heck off. Everyone I know washes donated clothes, especially donated baby clothes. Newborn's immune system is non-existent. Everything needs to be washed and sterilized. You made a whole thing out of nothing. Get off your imaginary high horse just because you have 3 kids. Let the expecting mother go through pregnancy her own way. She's nesting. Leave her alone. OP was mom-splaining. OP takes offense at a lot of stuff. She may even be struggling with the family's attention, switching to the new baby in the family after she's had the most recent, possibly the several most recent, and maybe the only babies in that generation so far. So the show's not going to be about her for much longer. Update. Obviously, I know what nesting is, and obviously, I wanted everything clean and perfect too. However, when one of my family members gifted me something, or if someone I know is clean and takes care of things, I didn't throw it in the washer. I might be coming off as nitpicking, but when someone throws something in the washer that came from your house, like it was dirty, you would also be annoyed. I, female 30, have worked in my current role for over a year, and I absolutely love it. The only thing is that, until now, I've been the only female in the entire office. Not just my team, as in every single colleague is a man. I don't mind. I like my coworkers, and unlike other workplaces, I've never had a single issue with an inappropriate comment or something similar. Recently, a new hire started. She, 25 to 30, works outside of my team, but is a part of a team I work with regularly, so we have interacted a couple of times. Then we chatted during a company dinner, and she now seeks me out during lunch. I have no issue with this. She's friendly and finds me more approachable than her team members. So far, the conversations have all been general chit-chat, nothing too serious, but also not super work-focused, as I don't want to talk shop at lunch. Last week, as usual, she found me at my desk, asking if I wanted to grab something to eat. She then suggested we go to a sit-down place rather than bring food back to the office. Fine by me. At the cafe, she straight up asked me who the issue men were at work. I was confused, so she clarified, asking who was creepy and who should be avoided. I was a bit surprised, but honestly told her that everyone's always been friendly and kind, and that I have not experienced anything like that at this company. She seemed like she didn't believe me and kept pressing, but I kept saying more of the same. As I was packing up on Friday, the new hire asked me if we could walk to the elevator together. During the trip down, she said she was very disappointed that I wasn't sharing names with her so she could protect herself from creeps. She said now she didn't know who to avoid, all because I wasn't a girl's girl. I tried to tell her again that it wasn't like that, but she wouldn't have it and said that I was more interested in protecting the boys' club than being friends. Now I'm not sure if something has happened, but am I the idiot for the way I handled it? Maybe she expected something different. You don't have any problem men, but you do have a problem woman. Should the men be warned? Oh boy, she's one of those types. She's looking to start trouble. Not the idiot. Look, if you were lying to her, refusing to answer her question because you had chosen predators over a potential victim, you would be an idiot. Although, even then, not because you're a woman. That behavior is equally idiot-ish, coming from a man. But you weren't. And she's an idiot for accusing you of being a liar. You could ask her if she's having a problem with anyone. That's not being a girl's girl. That's looking out for the welfare of a colleague. Gender doesn't need to come into it. You may see inappropriate comments as just jokes and aren't offended when this other woman is. Everyone has different standards of what's acceptable. Would you want to support any other by default male colleague if they were having issues with anyone? This is what my thoughts are. Someone may have said something to her, or she's getting vibes from someone and wants to check with the only other woman if it's a known problem, or if she might be overreacting. It's possible, even normal, for one person to not have an issue with someone and for someone else to have an entirely different experience with that one person. But a new coworker is in the wrong for accusing OP of lying. I think everyone's the idiot here.